Well, hey there, everybody. So today we're going to work through Chapter 6. So I'm just going to open up a template and get right into it. So this first one, exercise 1, is going to be in inches. And looking at it, I think that I'll start with drawing this square. It doesn't give us a starting point for our drawing, so I'm just going to pick somewhere around right here. And it says it's going to be a 4x4 rectangle. Unfortunately, I don't know what my point is here. Okay, so I chose 4x4. Perfect. So we'll do 8, 8. I could have also kept the grid on for that, but and then next we have, we'll draw these circles, top and bottom arcs. It's hard to tell, but I'm drawing off the center point right here. And then the size is going to be 2. And I can copy one of them over. Draw the other one. You know, obviously we'll have to add a round in here, so we'll go ahead and put it up. And it's going to be R33. 33 to be exact. So I'm just going to trim it on all the corners for fill it on the square itself, and then I'll go back and trim the circles. Ooh. Okay. So we are given that we have these polygons, and it is 3 inches between them. So we're going to do 1.5 offset from the center both ways. Go ahead and delete this center line. Then we have 6-sided polygons. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do a vertical line, so let's do that and do the same offset of 1.5. Okay, so now back to the polygons. We'll choose the center after we choose the sides. And then this is going to be, I believe, circumscribed. We'll double check that in a minute. 0.62. Well, it appears to be inscribed. So needless to say, circumscribed means that it goes around the circle. What we need is for it to be inside of the circle. So we'll do circumscribed. Still seems big. Yeah, okay, so you know what? It was circumscribed. Apparently, what we need to do is 0.31, half of 0.62. Yeah, okay, so weird. That's fine. So we'll just copy this and paste it to all of the intersections. We can delete these reference lines now. And then we have from these circles, or polygons, we will have circles. 1.48 from them. I went the wrong way with that one, but that's okay. And then they're going to be diameter circles. So I'm going to use some projection here. So I'm going to hover over the midpoint so that it gives us the dragging trail. Then I'm going to hover over the endpoint over here and find where they cross. Notice it's got them both highlighted still. And then I will put in 1.04, and I'm going to do the same thing up here. There we go. And just to make sure everything's snapped right, we'll go ahead and make a dimension in here. Oh, because I dimensioned to the wrong spot. There we go. Do the same over here. It says on this one not to do dimensions, but we're still going to put in the center marks. So temporarily, in order to get our center mark here on this guy, I'm going to draw a circle. And it was on diameter, unfortunately. We're going to find where the 2 points meet, and I'm just going to choose do one just like that. Do that again. The only reason we're doing this is so that whenever you're making a center mark, you can just click on a circle like normal, instead of having to manually draw one and it not being quite right. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's make the center marks. We're not going to put one on the big circle just because it would look kind of goofy, as you see. Yeah, that's going to be it for this one. That's exercise 1. And then we have exercise 3 next. And it's also going to be inches, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so let's start with the bottom right point, because it seems like everything's based off of that edge. So I'm going to choose kind of a random spot here. Put on ortho. But you know what? Actually, let's start from the left. Looking at it, it kind of gives the vibe of being dimension on the right, but it's really still kind of the left. So we'll start at 3.3. And then dimension 0.75. And then the height of this gap is going to be 0.75 minus 0.5. So that's 0.25. And then what we have here is a 2.25 dimension, so we have to subtract 0.75 from that, which gives us 0.25. And I can type the value in again here, or I can just use a little projection. Do that one, and then it's 3 overall, so it's 0.75 on this side as well. 0.75 up, and then I can go ahead and just close this out and trim. Okay, so then we have 1.45 for our slot, which, you know what, we'll actually ignore it for now. Let's do 2.075 to the top. And I'm just going to extend this a little bit. And I'm going to extend these lines. So I'm going to trim. We'll put in our tan radius circles here to round the corners. Sorry, my allergies are killing me today. All right, trim the corners, trim the circle, and the corners. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do these little circles on the bottom corners here. It's 0.35 from the outer edge for both. And then it's 0.35 on the other edge. They're going to be 0.2. copy it. Choose the intersection. And it appears we have some hidden lines right here. All right. So next, let's do that 1.45 dimension from the slot to the bottom. And I'm just going to lengthen this. Now, 0.625 from the far end, we have the first center. And from that same line we just drew, it's 1.75 over to the other end of the circle. And we're given a 5 diameter value, 0.5. So we'll go ahead and slap it in. Copy it. We'll go ahead and delete our projection lines now before it gets too convoluted. Draw on the quadrants. Alright, so now we just need our center marks. I choose the bigger ones, that way we get the implication that these two circles share the same center. A little more information that helps the drawer. Oops. We're going to stretch this to make it connect to that one. And that's going to be it for this one. Okay. It's not required that you dimension yet, but it will be very soon. So keep that in mind. The next one is going to be metric. So let's jump over to our metric B. And we'll start with the left side. It's kind of the low-hanging fruit here, but I like what I see. I'll start like right here. So we know that the overall height is 75. And then there's going to be a line 12 over from it. And the entire shape itself is going to be 60 wide. We'll go ahead and put in the 60 line. So we can go ahead and draw this box shape. Turn off my grid. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and draw from the center here of this far left line. Well, you know what? No, I take that back. I'm going to draw it from this end over here, since we're given that 45 dimension. I'm just going to make it 45. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the circles on the far right. And we can go ahead and draw from the quadrants. Hit my 3D mouse. Go ahead and trim that. And this little bit. You know what? Actually, we need to keep that part of the circle. Didn't expect that. Okay. Fine. Alright, we need some radius of 12 pentans. Alright, let's put these little circles in. Yeah, it turns out it's perfectly in the middle. Didn't expect that. Okay. So, it says it's 44 between them. So, just for the sake of ease, we'll just draw a center line here. Oop. And we'll do 22 each way, which is 44 divided by 2. That'll give us our intersection point still. Alright, It's going to be 12. And we'll delete this tidbit and that. Then we have some lines here that are 9 from the edge. And let's see. I can't remember if there's a split command here. Yeah, cool. Let's try using a break command here. So we need 3 different lines here technically, but I don't want to have to draw each one. So what I'm going to do is try to do a break command. Cool. Yeah, so we'll do that again. Break at point. What I'll do is I'll choose this line and I'll say make it 2 lines right here. So now we have these 3 lines all separate, and only this one needs to be hidden. We're going to do the same thing down here. It's a pretty convenient command. So object, breakpoint, object, breakpoint. And then we'll put in our center mark stuff. And grab that square grip, bring it all the way to the end over here. That's going to be it for this one. Okay. Boy, this next one's going to be a doozy though. Problem solving exercise 1. You know what? Actually, we're going to do we'll do a C size for this one. It's going to be pretty big. Okay, so we're going to draw the far right wrench head. So I'm going to start kind of far out over here. So what we're given, and this one's pretty convoluted, so I actually took a picture and put it on my phone, and I'm going to point at it. So what we're really given is this center point, and that one. And from those 3, everything is going to be based off. So, I'm going to go ahead and draw them, and I'm going to try to clearly lay it out so you can kind of visualize what's going on, because I feel like that's the biggest thing, is this drawing doesn't give you a lot of good visual info like you need. We have a line 0.82, and then we have a line that's at an angle 15, so I'm going to change my angle snap to 15, 30, 45. So we're getting that snap. And then I'm going to go to 165 and then type in the length of 0.7. Okay, and to make this a little more clear, I'm going to make some circles here, a different color. I'm going to paste them at these intersections because I feel like it's really hard to keep up with what's where. And this is one of those times where you really need that extra visual information. So, let's see. Let's draw 1.24. No, actually, I take that back. Let's draw the 1.69 circle, which, if you're noticing on the dimensions, they mostly indicate, like, from that center point, it's given an extension line that shows where that dimension goes to. And you see the same here, and the same with the 2.46. So we're going to draw those 3, actually. So we're going to do the 1.69 dimension radius. It's huge, so you don't see it, but I'm going to keep going and draw the 1.83 dimension, which comes from this one. Dropped in the wrong number there. Okay, so 1.83, and then okay, so then next we have the 2.46 one. Now this guy is going to be huge, but fortunately they all have like a certain use case. I know immediately you're just like, oh no, what is this crap? But let's go ahead and put in some dimensions so it's a little more clear. Okay, so 2.461 is only going to be used on the far left, so I'm going to keep the dimension here in the gap where I can perfectly see, the part that I need. And then the 1.831, the dimension up here, because we won't use it on the bottom. We'll dimension the other one down here as well. So first and foremost, let's try to trim away a little bit of this so it's not so stressing. So the 2.46 part we know exists until it intersects with the 1.83 circle. So if I'm following it around, actually, hang on a minute. Yeah, 1.83, so it should cross up here. Yeah, so right there, at this point, is where I will trim off the rest of this big circle, the 2.46 circle, because we know that it's only going to be on the far left. And then the same can be said over here. As soon as it, and if you notice, it trimmed it automatically. As soon as it intersects that 1.69 circle, it trims it away. Now what's cool, since we know that everything over here is useless because it's already being not used at that point. And I might have to move my dimension for a minute just to, give us some breathing room to trim right there. But yeah, so now it's already becoming a little more simplified. And then it's as simple as you've got the top part and then a divide and then the bottom. We'll go ahead and offset from this diagonal line 1.9 divided by 2, whatever that equals, because it says that our slot 1.9. So that's going to be 0.95. I'm going to go one way. That clicks. Alright, so we do need to draw in that middle circle now. And it's a radius of 1.09 from this center point. And I'm on the wrong layer still. Okay, so let's go ahead and extend this wrench part. Well, it's too far, but that's okay. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we'll trim off this extra I did on both ends by mistake. Trim off this. And then we know that this circle is only going to be needed on the left, so we can trim off the rest of this. Now it's starting to become a little more clear. As I mentioned before, you know that the top part only goes to the top, so we can trim off everything here down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then delete out the rest of this circle. And then as you can see, the picture is getting even more clear. So now we know that I can trim this portion out and delete that. Now it's starting to look like a wrench, actually. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line, and it comes 4.29 out. And then we have a distance of 0.72 from this center line to the top of the handle. And then from the top to the bottom is 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a center line. I'll probably delete it in a minute, but that's okay. For now, actually, I think I will just drag it there so we don't have overlap. But so then we're going to do a bunch of tan radius here. So first we have two R.16 ones. I clicked it. Alright, so there's that. Now I will take a moment and mention one thing. If you go and try to put in this 3.78 dimension, it's kind of arbitrary where they're dimensioning, but it's not likely to show correct. So know that if you're looking at this, it gives a reference dimension of 3.78, but I have a feeling that that dimension probably isn't correct. So keep that in mind. So then we have a 2.06 tan radius. Now I want to point out something right here. If I go to trim this, it's not trimming. Does anybody see that? Not good. So the reason being is, if you look here, well, obviously it's tangent there, but I did it off of this circle here. So note, when you're zooming into this circle, the tangent's technically up here. So it puts it in place, but there needs to be some kind of extension so they actually touch. And this is where you want to extend this arc back a little bit, the top one, the 183 arc. Extend it towards that new tan radius circle, and then you can trim the circle away. I'm going to go ahead and trim this out, delete this. And then we need a tan radius of 1.24. Trim that, delete this. You know, I am going to go ahead and delete this actually. The only thing we need to keep for our mirroring and whatnot is this little point here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. So then it says in the instructions here, mirror at 15 units to the left, and then we'll get to the next part after that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these. You know what? I'm going to not select that center point. So make sure I got everything just in case I missed. I'm going to type in mirror. You know what? Actually, it might help. I drew a line that's 15 over. Then I'm going to draw a vertical line so we can mirror the portion across that axis. So do that again. Type in mirror. And it says specify first point. And I'm just going to choose the line itself. And then I'm going to keep my stuff by hitting no. And then it says I'm going to mirror this part across the x-axis. So we already have an x-axis, so I'm just going to choose mirror again. I'm going to choose this line and just an ending of it. I'm going to delete the original. Then I'm going to leave the center point for a minute so that I can scale this properly. So now I'm going to scale it by 75%. I'm going to choose my center point. I'm going to type in 0.75. Alright, so now we still have the same center point, but we just need to connect these lines. And there's really not like a perfect way to go about this. So what I'm going to say to do is to grab this end, bring it to the fillet, grab this end and bring it to the fillet. There you go. You know, if you want, you can go back and put in your center line. I can find it. There we go. And that's going to be it for that one. Yeah. So we have one more, and that's going to be problem solving exercise 2. We'll start in the first view, the front view, and I'll start at the bottom left point. So I'm going to snap to my grid and then turn off the grid. Let's see, what are we given here? So we know we have a height of 18 plus 36, which is going to be 56. You know, we have a width here of 56 as well. And then it's 38 down, 78 over, 18 down, and I can close this out. And then we also have a circle, the radius value of 19. Okay, and the rest is in the other view, top view. So I'm going to go ahead and project up, and then we'll kind of finish building this guy through that. I'll turn my grid back on for a minute so I can choose a decent snap spot here. You know, if you're doing the same, you may have to turn off your snap for a minute. I'm going to choose roughly here. And it's 62 tall. I made it just about right. Okay, so trim, trim, and trim. Okay, so those are rough shape. So then we can do these little holes first. And it's 38 from the center. Oh, I gotta turn my snap back on. So it's 19 each way then. Those are gonna be diameter of 12. And then we have a circle that is aligned to this center, and it's centered across the part as well. So I'm going to find the intersection and draw a 6 radius. And technically I could draw everything in these views. It's not like it's very hard to calculate what they are, but for the sake of learning, I'm going to draw it as it should be. And I'm going to move it up a little bit. I changed my mind. Let's go up and just a little bit, try to keep this view with some room. I'm going to draw, it's about right here. It's going to be 62 wide. And then I'm just going to draw some lines here, turn the grid back off and snap. And I'm just going to draw all these edges. And then I'm going to draw my vertical line for the profiles boundary. And I'm going to leave these connected for a minute. That way I can kind of, make sure I'm getting the right stuff here. So that one's hidden, the rest aren't. So then I'll trim. And already it's kind of looking like something, but let's go ahead and transfer all of this. We'll finish this view first since we're here. I'll draw my projection lines. And just to make this easier, I'm going to make these a different layer. I'm going to project this over. You could use rays here. I'm not a huge fan, but if you want to draw it a little faster, a ray is quicker. Odds are, though, if you do that, you may end up forgetting to trim something, which is the only reason I don't use it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just then you got to trim it down here too, because it'll go infinitely that way, and I'm kind of petty, so I don't want to do that. Alright, so everybody's thinking, holy crap, now it's just jumbled up and confusing. But that's okay. So what we do know, looking at the book, is the two bigger circles only go in this portion here. So I can go ahead and just trim out this and simplify it a little bit. So then it's not so daunting to look at, and I can go ahead and delete these two lines and these two lines. We can just go ahead and delete all of that, so it helps a lot. Okay, so then we know that this circle only goes to this part, and we also are going to have a gap down here. So I'm going to delete the rest of this. I'll make these hidden. Let's see, so the only thing we're given here is that it's 12, so we have to assume that it's centered. It's 6 inches both ways to give it a 12-inch width, or 12 millimeter width. So I'm going to trim it down. And then it's 6 tall. So we're going to trim it to that height and trim out this portion. Delete this. Now it's starting to look like something. So now we need to put in our center marks, or center lines in this case. All right, so that's that view. And now we'll go ahead and finish this one down here. But while we're here, we might as well slap in these center marks. Save a little time. Technically, you know, I can just extend this. Instead of doing a center line, I can just snap it down. And for whatever reason, they got really buck wild and hit them across the whole thing, so we will too. Okay, so I should have left my miter lines actually. Let's go ahead and put the top stuff in. Alright, so now that we got those back, let's project this groove. Alright. Okay, so that's it for that view. And then we need to project these down. I'll draw a line here so I can just go back and delete these easier. Now I can trim here and there, and then just generically grab and delete all of that without messing up anything on our top view. And we have one more thing to project, and that's this groove into this view. So, you know, since this hole clearly cannot exist here in this open area, we have to trim out this portion. And then we'll extend the center mark down to here. And technically wouldn't go all the way. We need the center line over here. I missed it. Wasn't paying any attention. Okay. Double check and make sure I have everything here. Yep. So that's going to be it for this one. Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching.